Hi there, welcome. I would like to introduce you guys to Melissa Ober. She is the science girl and she runs Science Girls Lab, and that is a business that she created herself. She lives in the Albuquerque, New Mexico area. I met Melissa just a few months ago and she has a great story I wanted to share with everyone. So welcome, Melissa, glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be here with you. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. So tell us about your business. Who is Science Girl? Where did that come from? And what do you do in your lab?
Absolutely. So I play this character, Science Girl, and I welcome you into the laboratory. Kids, boys, girls, grandmas, grandpas, everywhere in between, parents. I love to make sure that I complete one goal, which is to inspire the next generation of scientists. So I really focus in on the kids, but if we get the whole family excited, it just pushes the kids forward to wherever they want to go in a STEM career. And so the goal is inspiration. And I do that by providing hands-on experiences, so hands-on science activities, and then science shows and performances.
Tell us how you got started. How old were you?
So I started Science Girls Lab, what it is today, about 17 years old. However, when I started, like many entrepreneurs, I didn't mean to start a business. I was homeschooled and my parents asked me what I wanted to do when I got for a career. And I said, well, I could do many things. I could teach, I could work at the Explore Science Museum here in Albuquerque, but I really want to try this science performance thing out. I was about 13 years old and I saw these science performers and I wanted to try it out. So it was a dream through high school and middle school to do this. So they said, okay, here's a senior project for you. Make a science show at Explora. I'm like, sweet, that's what I'm going to do. So I spent about 300 hours and I built and wrote and directed and made this science show very unique to itself. Many people, when they see a science show, the person goes up there in a lab coat, they do something cool, blow it up, talk about it, and then they're done. I wanted to try something different and cater to students' love of stories and imagination and theater. And I created a science show where there's this bad guy and we're trying to find an experiment to scare him off so he doesn't take over his home planet, which is an alien planet called Zondar. It's really a whole lot of fun. So I did this show. I just expected to do it for 3 weeks, see how I liked it. Well, within those 3 weeks, I was on news spots here in Albuquerque. People really enjoyed it. They wanted me to come to their school, their conference, birthday parties. It was just like, I could do something with this. And so I spent that summer and fall of 2016, like doing things like getting a website, getting my name out there, taking any little gig I could, and building what is now Science Girls Lab. And so it really wasn't something intentional. It was a passion that turned into a career for me. But, I approached college in a different way that I did the elementary ed to almost like a market research, almost as, okay, what do teachers need? What do kids need? What are they going through? What holes can I fill in my business? And that's how I approached college. Not I need to get this degree to get a job that I want, but rather, okay, this is an opportunity for a backup plan, but also an opportunity to figure out, okay, the people I'm trying to reach, what do they need? What are they looking for? How can I help?
So it sounds like you do intend to keep it going for a while. This is not something that you experimented with. Well, it was fun, but I want to go do something else. You've committed a lot of time into studying how to make it better. So that tells me that you're planning to keep doing it for a while.
Yeah, I plan to keep on doing it for a while. I have this one goal for Science Girls Lab that I have had since I've started. I have an hour-long show that I'm creating that I would like to travel with to perform for families and kids. So if I'm able to reach that goal, if I'm able to do that for 6 months, for a month, just to try it out, to see what it's like, probably after that, I will reevaluate where I'm at if I want to keep going, or if I want to take my skills and work under a larger company like, I don't know, National Geographic or Smithsonian, to make videos for them, to work with them. So I could see Science Girls Lab maybe being absorbed under another company if they found it valuable enough, or I could just liquidate it and take my skills. And I would love to manage like educational programs at a museum or something like that.
What's been the hardest thing to learn or to adjust to in having your own business?
Well, I think a lot of people could say would be time management. There is a lot that goes into running a business, especially when you're sole proprietor, which is what Science Girls Lab is. I do everything. I am the marketer, I am the developer, I build, deliver, I do everything. And I have some people in my life that are very kind to help me out on the big things. But unless you unless you hire help, you're doing everything yourself. And so it's trying to balance school, it's trying to balance doing my job, it's trying to balance having a private life where I want to watch movies with friends, or I want to go on a date or whatever. So it's very difficult for me because I am a very hard worker and I tend to overwork myself. So I have had to learn at what point am I overworking myself and I'm not being as effective, and at what point am I not putting in enough. And
Because if you work for someone else, there's parameters around that. You show up at this time, you leave at this time, and there's sort of fences around your job. But when you work for yourself, there are no fences. You have to create your own fences and know when to close the door and put that away, or when to turn the computer off and take a break.
Exactly, because you are tempted to work till 9 o'clock at night, and when you started working at 7 that morning, and then you have to remember there's other people that want your time. There are friends and family that you need to invest in. You can't be stuck to your computer. You have to get out there, and you have to, make sure I'm in my early 20s. And there's just things I would like to do. And so it's just a balance. And I think a lot of people want to get right there right now. You have to be okay with taking time with yourself and, going and doing things that you want to do.
You've really grown up a lot during this process. If it started when you were a teenager, I met your mom, and she told me a lot about how you were this kid who loved science. And it's been such a pleasure for your mom to watch that blossoming and growing, and to see that part of you emerging. She sounds like she's your biggest fan. She's also involved in your business. Does she help you with events or with promotion? What are the roles of the people in your life helping you?
So my mother, she is my biggest fan, and she's really invested in me since the beginning. At the beginning, because I was so young, I was just a 17-year-old girl trying to go into college and figure out this thing called being an entrepreneur and business. And so she and my dad were a lot of just the emotional support, the advice support, what they think. They were the ones I went to. I'm like, okay, I've got these 3 choices. Which one should I go for? Or I've got these 3 prices that I could give this client, but I'm not sure what's best for, so they were the people that I bounced ideas off of. And I still do today. I'll go in and be like, okay, I need something that explodes and that has color. And we'll sit there for half an hour and brainstorm. It's so much fun. And so with my mom specifically, over the years, she has lessened her duties, as she should, as I've taken them on. So when I was 17 years old, she really took care of a lot of the tax stuff, because I didn't even know what taxes personally looked like at that point. Getting a business ID, what does that even mean? And so she really took care of that, like, background stuff. And now I have taken that on over the years. And now her role now is that when I have a huge event, she wants to be there. She wants to tell people about what I'm doing. It's her pleasure and her joy to see people being affected and by what I do. and she wants to promote me. So
you and I met at a homeschool convention. We were doing workshops for homeschool families. And you said that you were doing shows at the state fair, at the museum. You do birthday parties. How do you make these connections? Are you reaching out and doing marketing for people?
At the beginning, I did more free events than paid events because you're just trying to get contacts. You're just trying to build up your market. And I had a really big, strong presence at the Explora Science Museum here in Albuquerque. I was an intern there from 15 to 18. And that gave me a lot of community support already, because Explora is a huge presence in the STEM communities, especially education community. It's connections, it's relationships, and it's, again, bringing people into your passion, bringing them into your goals. And if you can say something like, oh, if I'm able to do this for your event, I can guarantee you these kids are just going to have a lot of fun. I can guarantee you that there's going to be people who want to know more. And if people know that your presence brings in business, businesses want you.
The fact that you started out volunteering as an intern, there are many potential or wannabe entrepreneurs that are not willing to lower themselves, as it were, to doing it for free, because they think, well, this is a great idea and there's no reason why people shouldn't pay me. But you do have to get your foot in the door and make those connections. And you did that as a volunteer to get this thing up to speed. So I'm glad that you addressed that. That's a really good path to start out on. You have to have the patience to work your way up.
And I started when I was a teenager. I was looking for things to do, that it was planned out almost already, that I was able to have these contacts.
How much do I charge? Depends on the audience. A birthday party, an hour at a children's birthday party, is a very different budget from a corporate budget where you're going to only be there for an hour, but you're doing it for Citibank Corporation or the university or something. So this is something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. Usually they don't want to charge enough. So how did you come about your pricing structure? You don't have to tell us what you charge for what, but how did you develop that pricing structure? And I'm sure you learned some hard lessons along the way.
Let's put it this way. I'm still learning those hard lessons. This is something, let me tell you, when I tell you, this has been my biggest struggle. Because if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still be doing this. I don't care about the money, but I do care because I have to pay bills. And so one thing that I try to do is that I try to price higher than I think. And that's a lot of confidence that is really hard to muster up when you see every fault in your product. And so one thing that I would say is please talk to people who are in your similar bracket. So what's hard about me is that I really don't have any direct competitors here in New Mexico. And so I can't look at what they're doing and then make adjustments. I have to talk to somebody who may be similar to me, magicians, or there are plenty of people who do acrobatics and things like that. And you have to put a value on yourself, and you have to put a value at what you're giving people, and then balance it with their budget. So I tend to price higher now. And then you have to realize, what are you sacrificing for pricing lower than you actually are? I have to do more bookings. I have to work harder for those bookings. And then what is sacrificed? My school, my family, myself mentally and physically. But if I can price higher and do fewer bookings, then I can do what I do better. I can do higher quality with less bookings than, many bookings.
That's a mental shift as well. Do I see myself as an entertainer and charge entertainer prices, or do I see myself as an educator and charge educator prices? That's about your perception of yourself.
And then I have the audacity to tell myself I'm an edutainer and I'm a whole different bracket.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, and you're right. They are entertainment. And some bookings, I am an entertainer. Other bookings, I'm the educator. And most of my bookings, about probably 85%, I'm both.
So if Science Girls Lab went away tomorrow, what do you think you would do next?
I would pursue a management position in some educational institute for informal education, not education itself. What was really cool about my undergrad is I was a student teacher for 3 semesters, and I realized I probably don't want to become a
A
formal
classroom
educator.
teacher.
Yeah, exactly. I would want to become an informal educator at a museum, at a place, something like, Boys and Girls Club, something like that. I would pursue something like that here in New Mexico.
Homeschooling is a managerial job, and it's an edutainment job in essence. So you
Yeah.
watched that all at home, growing
Mhm.
up in a homeschool family.
Absolutely. I was very thankful to my parents because they were very much, once you hit high school, we're giving you a deadline and you have to do the work and match the deadline. And their reasoning behind that was, when I got to college, I would be handed a syllabus and say, do the work. And they
Yeah.
wanted me to be able to do that. But it actually taught me time management. It taught me goal setting. And because I was homeschooled, I was a part of a lot of different education programs. And I got to see all of it. And it was a huge advantage. And I was very thankful that I was homeschooled for that reason, because I have a lot of exposure that maybe some other people didn't have, going to a public school or private school every day. So I'm very thankful for that. And you're right. I learned a lot of my principles as an entrepreneur because I was homeschooled. And not everybody homeschools the same way. My parents are very organized, very methodical, and they taught that way. And I was very thankful because it taught me to set deadlines for myself and then meet them.
What do you think would be the one most important piece of advice you would want to give to a young female who has a crazy idea like you did?
The worst that they can do is say no.